Um, I have a friend. She wants to sell her gas station
Nice.
and buy
Commercial.
a
Excellent.
smaller gas station
Hmm.
within Visalia, Fresno area.
Okay.
So I'm gonna meet with her this afternoon, but I would like to know, well, this is considered commercial property, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So I've never sold or purchased, representing a client, any property of this type. So I would like if you could, not now, but maybe later, give me an approach of what should the topic or how to approach her or what questions I need, how to show that I do have the knowledge,
Yeah,
and if not, prepare myself for it.
for sure. You got a pen and paper because we're going to do it
Yes,
now
I
because it's
do.
actually part
Yes,
of valuing. I mean, valuing
yes, I do.
commercial property. So I talked to someone the other day and they said, "Hey, do you know of any agents that I can refer a commercial seller to?" And I said, "Yeah, you." Because one of the things we do is we sell commercial. Now, you shouldn't
Okay,
be giving away leads unless it's not
okay.
in your area and you need to refer it to
Uh-huh.
someone else. I don't suggest giving
Yes.
away a commercial because you do everything. We can sell businesses. We can sell restaurants that don't own the real property. We can sell businesses that don't own the real property. We can sell,
Okay.
we can, that falls under the realm of a real estate agent or broker. It definitely falls under that realm. So you got one. So here's some things just to throw out there for you to think about. Number one, most important item, you want to impress them. Are they looking to 1031 exchange? This came up the other day inside of a conversation, and it's so amazing how agents were like, "What is that?" They don't know what 1031 exchange is. 1031 exchange, just so you know, is when you exchange one investment over to another, with you're exchanging the tax implication, the capital gains that you're going to make, that person's going to make on that, they're going to have to pay on that. You're exchanging the taxes over to the new investment. Typically, like investments is what they want to see, uh, but doesn't mean that you can't put vacant land into residential land. I mean, there's some rules to it, and I always like to call my favorite IPX representative, which handles the 1031 exchange, and they'll answer your questions. They're such nice people. But 1031 exchange is question one that I would make sure you ask her is, do you want a 1031 exchange this? Exchanging the taxes over into the next investment. And typically they're going to say, "Oh, yeah, yeah, good. I didn't think about that." Or they're going to say, "Yes, that's the reason why." So if
Because
that,
that saves them money, correct?
it saves them having to pay the capital
Yes.
gains. Yeah.
Uh-huh, capital gain.
So basically, the money, the profit, not a cent of the profit can touch their hands. So the money of the sale of the property, a 1031
Oh,
exchange moderator or a negotiator has to receive the funds into their, probably a trust account or whatever it is they have. They hold the money. They have a certain amount of time, which is, if I remember right, off the top of my head,
three
180
months?
total days.
Yes.
They have, I believe, 90 days to locate four properties that they want to exchange it into, and 180
Mhm.
total days to complete the sale. And so the
Yes.
money, the sell the property goes into the 1030, it goes from escrow directly into the 1031 exchange account, and
Uh-huh.
then it goes from the 1031 exchange over into the purchase of the new investment. Never touches the owner's hands, therefore they don't have to pay taxes on it. So that's the number one first question I would ask. Once you find out what their plan is with the 1031 exchange, then we move on to the next thing is, okay, so is there any business names that you're selling with this property? Is there any fictitious business names? Is there any um, um, other things like that? Is the business name being sold with the property? Or does some new person just buy in the building and they have to go get their own business name? I mean, so because you can exchange, you can sell the business name with the property over to the new owners. So business name. How about other things like fixtures? Is that all being sold with the property? Because they're not typically
Mm-hmm.
bolted to the ground. So they're usually not a fixture. They're usually not a considered personal property. It's not bolted to it, so they're usually removable. So are the
Mm-hmm.
fixtures going? There's other things you could throw in there too, like is there merchant accounts that are going to be left with the property, or is the new person
Yeah,
going to get the,
pending. Mm-hmm.
a lot of different things like that for swiping credit cards and stuff like that. There's a whole list. Here's the fun part about businesses on the under in California, 'cause you're in California. Under the business listing agreement, there's two different agreement. There's two, and there's a commercial property listing agreement. There's a business listing agreement. There's a couple of them in there. Under the business one, there's a checkbox, and it's really nice because all your questions are right there that you need to ask. Fixtures, fictitious business name, all these different things that it's just going to highlight that you can ask them, are any of these things being left with the property? It's so read through the commercial listing agreement, read through the business listing agreement under your California zip forms docs, and that way you're gonna sit there and have all the questions right there you can get answered that has to do with selling the business. If they don't own it, there's other things. So there's an Oh, here's another very important thing is understand when it comes to appraisals on commercial property, typically they're much more pricier than a residential real estate appraisal. You might be looking at 800 bucks. Lucky, sometimes it's $1,000 for a residential appraisal, but it's usually between 500 and 1,000. Commercial appraisals are usually $2,500, and they usually include an environmental portion. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why there's that checkbox for environmental for your California docs. You're going to want to check that box for environmental if it's a commercial sale. If you're writing an offer on another, sounds like you might be writing an offer on another one. So let's see, anything else? Those are some of the main points that I would make sure I would know, I would ask. Um, there,
Okay.
just remember you're selling a business name, you're selling an entity, you're selling all this stuff with it typically. If not, you need to just get those questions answered if you're going to sell that with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
yeah. And
Okay.
your escrows are typically longer. So prepare them for that, especially if there's a loan. If there's not a loan, it can be quicker.
Yes,
But
of
if
course.
there's a
Uh-huh.
loan, it's typically a good 3 month, it could be a 3 month long loan process. It takes longer. Sometimes you can get it done in 2 months, but it's because the appraisal's longer. It's a bigger
Okay.
bigger deal of an appraiser. A lot of times in Central California where you're located, there are a lot of commercial appraisers in the valley, so they'll come out of LA area and drive down to do appraise that property. So for sure. I've sold dentist offices. I've assisted on gas stations. Lots of restaurants. I've got one in Bakersfield that I'm getting ready to help someone out with. In Bakersfield, a restaurant, a church. I helped an agent value a church. I've sold two churches in my career. Actually three. No, two or three. Anyway, I helped an agent at your company, Legacy in Fresno, value a church the other day. So it's all the same. You've got to make sure some of those questions get answered.